Hey YouTube. Today we'll be talking about my 40 Smith & Wesson Walther P99 and not my 9mm Walther P99. Let's see. This is a 40 Smith & Wesson first generation Walther P99, but first, the usual. Grab this one again. But this is a first generation Walther P99 with the OD green frame. For comparison, this is what the black would look like. Just pretend it was black if you went in black. And ignore the black back straps. All the back straps are black. You can only get them in that color. You can't get it in green, or some of the other colors for this was a tan, and I think there was a gray one at some point. But most of them are black. It's also the large size because when I bought this particular P99, this was what I got. I didn't get a box or extra magazines or the back straps because the Walther P99's, one of its claims to fame is, I think it was the first pistol where you could change the back straps out between small, medium, and large, and these happen to be the larges, while this one has the smalls on it because I have small hands. Let you look at the sight picture. And a little bit of comparison. Ignore the ends of the slide. The 9mm one has this cut out right here, while the 40 Smith & Wesson does not, no matter what generation it is. But for our generation comparisons, they have different rails. This one's a proprietary rail, because this was back in the 1990s when the standard rail wasn't the standard rail yet. So they had to go with whatever Walther or whoever contract with Walther to make accessories for it. Such as, get the light to focus. This particular flashlight, which is a incandescent light, which is pretty bright, but not as bright as an LED light. Such as this TLR7 Streamlight, which pretty much produces the sun. And gets very warm. Not as warm as my O-Light, but still pretty warm. Another difference is, moving backwards, they changed the profile of the trigger guard from this more angular style to a slightly rounded one. They also changed the trigger guards. They deleted the little bump right here in the later generations. It was intended to keep gloves from getting stuck on your trigger. I think it's a German thing, because I've only ever seen that on German pistols like this and the USP. And the P30, went the opposite direction. It made like a little trough right here. They also changed the magazine release. They went from this one and they lengthened it by almost double, so you get even more leverage. And they changed the slide serrations. They went from more finely I don't want to say checker, but can't think of the word right off the top of my head at the moment, but it's more of a fine lines in here compared to like the more modern open serrations and longer serrations. Don't let the sights fool you. These are aftermarket sights I put on. These are Meprolites, night sights. They glow in the dark. While these are just the standard factory plastic sights. I think they changed the slide release. Hold on, let me double check that. Nope, it's the same. Alright. Another nifty feature of the P99 is its anti-stress feature. There is versions of the P99 that don't have it, but it's what the P99 is mostly known for. And I believe it's the only pistol that has this. But basically, I'll explain it in a little bit simpler way. Pretend there's a round in here, and you're loading up a magazine to go shoot or carry or whatever. You have a cocking indicator because it's a striker fired gun, which comes back and tells you it's cocked and ready to fire. You can have it like this, and it'd be sort of like a Glock without the trigger safety. So, bang. And it will be ready to fire again, just with the trigger not going all the way forward again. So it'd be like this the entire time until you're empty. You could also just carry it like this, and you have a little bit extra travel for the first shot. So basically just telling you, hey, about ready to fire. It's kind of like a little bit of an added safety. I wouldn't carry it particularly like that. The way I would carry it is the other way. You can decock it with this lever right here, and it will handle like a double single action gun. Like, say you decocked it, you go to fire, bang, and then it'll be basically like a single action handgun. So basically, one way I could describe the P99 and how it operates is it's like a Glock with double action capability and a decocking feature. I mean, you can ignore it altogether and use it like a Glock if you want to, but that's just one particular feature of this pistol that you could use. And of course, also has the European style paddle release, which some people like and some people don't like. And they carried it over to the newer PPQ series, and people hated the paddle release so much they released an M2 variant with the push button, which HK did the same thing with their VP9. They released a B model with a push button because some people just really, really hate the lever release. I think it's because they keep trying to use it like this with their thumb instead of using their trigger or middle finger to do it. Let's let you compare contrast between the two. And of course, everyone also knows the P99 is one of James Bond's guns from the late 90s to the early 2000s, so they went back to PPK again. Mostly have a connection to this pistol because when I was growing up, I played a lot of James Bond video games on the PS2, and one of the guns he always had was a P99. It was either this or the PPK, and I always preferred this because, of course, video game logic, it did more damage and held more rounds. Another reason why that P99 holds a little bit of a special place for me is also when I was growing up, my first gun that I owned was a Walther P22, one of the first batch that came to the country, which I think the very first P22s didn't have front slide serrations, or if they did, they were kind of small like these. And it came with like a plastic box with 2 magazines and 2 barrels, and had like a little match weight that went on the end of the barrel. It was kind of neat. But we ended up trading it away because that particular one did not like Walmart 22 ammo very much, and then kept going, having lots of failure to go into batteries with it. So we ended up trading it for a Ruger Mark II match pistol. And of course, it didn't have the decocker. It had like a little Beretta style, not really Beretta, but like a PPK style thumb safety. And of course, a hammer on it. I don't know why they did that, but for some reason, a lot of European 22 copies of pistols are hammer fire with a little slide mounted safety, because like they have one for the I think the Glock, and I think they make one for the Steyr M9 and a few others that are like that. Alright. Through here. Well, thanks for watching this particular terrible video, and sorry I got a little rambly there at the end, but hope you learned a little bit of something. Maybe you might pick up a P99. Also forgot to mention, these are still somewhat gettable, the older ones. You can find them here and there, usually for around $500 or so, depending on what comes with it, and also who you're buying it from. Like, if they're a big James Bond guy, I would not buy it from them, because I'll probably ask you for a stupid amount of money for it, compared to just some guy at a pawn shop who probably doesn't care. But, anyway, thanks for showing up for this video, and hope to see you again next time.